It's Nicole Manion here, owner and founder of Muskoka Aesthetics, Muskoka Beauty, as well as your host on Beauty Behind the Brand. Now, on today's episode is going to be a solo episode with myself all around how I started Muskoka Aesthetics, our brick and mortar location here in Bracebridge, Ontario, which is the hub of Muskoka. So let's dive into this episode, and we've got some great questions from our listeners through our Instagram as well as the podcast. And let's hear some of the responses I have in how we started the business, how it's going, some of the challenges we've had. And I'm sure if you're already an entrepreneur or own a business, you can totally relate. Or if you're thinking about starting a business, this might be the best podcast for you to listen if it's within the beauty industry. So let's dive into this episode, and so excited to chat more about that. So let's dive in with the first question we have. What inspired you to open a spa business, and how did you get started? Oh, that's a loaded question, but a great way to start this podcast. So for example, I tried to figure out what I enjoy doing most and equivalent to what I wanted to start within the business world. I always knew I wanted to be a business owner, but wasn't quite sure which business or what type of business I wanted to get into. So I had gone to school for aesthetics and absolutely loved it, with both my parents owning a business as well, and generations upon generations on top of that. I found that it was definitely something I wanted. I know the lifestyle from growing up in it and being involved just as much, that I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but it's definitely something that I aspired to be, was an entrepreneur. So opening a spa business and how I got started was I actually went to our local small business center here in Bracebridge. We have a hub of the Muskoka Small Business Center here, but definitely something to look into in your local area. There might be some type of community center or something you can get involved in that is entrepreneurial based. I found that was super helpful to be around like-minded people and who were going around the table and chatting about the exact same things I was going through, whether they were in other industries, but we were all in it together, and it was super helpful in getting me started and getting my mindset, as well as also learning how to open bank accounts, learning how to do all the admin things, the behind the scenes. Yeah, sure. Opening an Instagram page, a Facebook page. That stuff was like the easy, fun, creative part, as most entrepreneurs find. But it was like opening the bank accounts, getting your business insurance, the logistics of which payment center to go through, terminals, getting all of that stuff figured out, as well as different grants and things that could be offered through your community. And that's another thing, is we all know it's very expensive to start a business. And some of the grants that are available now, whether you're a woman in business, even tech, if you're needing computers or software, there's also trades, estheticians and hairdressers. A lot of the beauty industry is classified as trades. So there's lots of grants out there if you're looking for them. Also, something as simple as applying actually to get a sign put up. I feel like that's something else that a lot of people don't talk about, is permits and things like that when opening business. So yeah, lots of things to think about when starting, but I always try to be involved in the community as much as I can and reaching out to other entrepreneurs. I know myself, now being in the industry and being a solo entrepreneur for 8 years now, I find it's one of those things that you want to help other people. So don't hesitate to reach out to other entrepreneurs or someone else that you really look up to, because we always think of it as such a compliment when people do reach out to us. Our next question is, what are some key factors to consider when selecting a location for your spa? This is probably the most challenging thing when starting, because you're so excited, you want to start the business, but something that takes the longest, I find, is finding that perfect location. Mine kind of just fell into my hands. I wasn't even really looking. It just kind of happened. I knew I wanted to start my own, and I knew that I had kind of put it out to the universe in a way, and kind of that positive mentality that something will happen when the time is right. And actually, my dad ended up finding it. He was in one of the local businesses that was right next door to our now location, and the landlord was actually giving up the people that were in that specific location were actually giving up their lease, and they were moving to a different location. And at that time I was like, oh my gosh, this is feeling so real. My anxiety spiked. Doing the walkthrough, my dad's like, okay, well, come after work, come see what you think. Let's go look at it. And I was super excited, but it was like over 1,000 square feet for just myself, going into this whole business world blindsided, not having any idea what I was getting myself into. Also then having rent, which was like basically having like a mortgage and your utilities and all the things on top of it, of not knowing what to expect. But some of the biggest things I find also depends on the scale of your business. If you're just a solo, I feel like sometimes things like what I'm going to mention might not matter when it comes to parking. If you're just going to have one client at a time, parking should be pretty easy. Now, our spa has, like, some days we have 56 to like 66 or 70 appointments a day. So we have a lot of traffic coming in and out of our location. And it's one of those things where you really want to make sure that you're getting proper parking. So clients are on time. There's no excuses of them having to walk basically blocks to get to you, as well as look at your clientele. We have an aging demographic here in Muskoka, and I want to make sure that everything's, for the most part, level ground. They're able to pull right up to the door. If they need accessibility, we're there to help them. We have a portable wheelchair ramp if needed for walkers, that kind of thing. So that would probably be one of my number one things, looking at the exterior of the building, as well as signage and exposure. We are right on a corner lot, so it's really great that we get exposure from our big sign on the road, as well as our sign is actually visible in our storefront from the main road. So premium location we have. We are in a building that is an automotive place for parts and such, but to be honest, we don't hear any noise. Our neighbors are great. If we need anything, they're there to help us. Also, if we need tools, it's actually very handy, so we can borrow them. But it's been great. No regrets in our location at all. The other thing was we have garbage as well right on our lot, so we were able to put garbage and recycling out the back as well, so we don't have to go back and forth to try to figure out that, as well as our mailboxes are very close. So the exterior and the aesthetic is quite nice as well. I have a little porch and some plants, as well as a little sitting area as well. Now, when it comes to location, I feel like it's one of those things where you want to see that you're close to a highway, even, is another good thing. So people that might be coming from the town next to yours or vice versa, or people coming out of town, it might make it really easy for them to get to you. And also for employees, if you're hiring staff, it's really easy for them to come in to work if they're coming from quite a distance off the highway. Our next question is, what are some common challenges that spa owners face, and how do you overcome them? Well, there's always challenges, whether it's spa and or just being an entrepreneur in general. Now, I'm going to kind of do a little bit of a generic comment to this question, just because I feel like it's very relatable on any scale. I would say staff is probably the hardest. It's really hard once you get past that stage of just being yourself and things are run the way you're doing it. You do things a certain way, and then you're like slowly building up that team. That's what we kind of started. I was myself for 6 months, and then we kind of started hiring every 6 months after that. It just worked out timing for us and the availability of what clients needed, as well as even who we were hiring. All these opportunities just came the way it was. We didn't have a receptionist for close to 2 years, actually. We had an online booking system, but we just couldn't afford at the time to have a receptionist. That was like a luxury, and I still feel like it's a luxury. So staying late, I feel like in the beauty industry, we are working when people aren't working. So early mornings and then late nights and weekends as well. But yes, staffing can be tricky. Turnover, I feel like it's a very women-dominated business as well. So we all go through our changes of life in the sense of we're going to have children and need maternity leave. We might get to the point where also, as we're getting older or doing the trade for so long, that our bodies are going to start breaking down on us, as sad as that is. So really making sure you're taking care of yourself and taking care of your employees. I feel like I try to do everything I can to take care of them, help them, even just being understandable when things happen or when they're sick or when they're going through things, like trying to be that sounding board that they feel comfortable to come to you. But it's also that fine line of not being a friend, but still having that, like, I'm your boss mentality is really tricky. I try not to believe in like the totem pole ranking when it comes to hiring and like the hierarchy at our location. A lot of people don't even know I'm the owner. I try not to like come off that way because I just feel like it's not good for anyone feeling like that. But yes, definitely the hiring is tricky. I always say hire slow, fire fast. So if you are hiring right now or thinking about hiring, really forecast. Like for us, I try to have at least 3+ weeks when it comes to the hiring situation of like Indeed, putting it out on social media, talking to clients saying you're looking to hire. And then even having those trial runs, having time to actually have them, if they're an esthetician or a hairstylist, having them do a couple clients and seeing what their interaction is like with them, how they talk to their clients, how they greet their clients, how they speak to you. Maybe if you hear them on the phone, talking to clients, that kind of thing. So currently, even for us with hiring receptionists and going over any stage of the business, I feel like it's a great opportunity to have like that little sample day where they almost fill in for a few hours, or you get some models in and get them to try the services. They let you know which services they actually enjoy doing as well. But yeah, just listening, think about yourself in that position, what you would be like being hired into your spa. If it's kind of good luck for throwing you in, you're not really setting them up for success. I try to take a lot of responsibility as well when staff might fail doing something or people don't know the answer and they're falling onto that team member or myself as a business owner. I'm not setting them up for success because you can't get frustrated at somebody who's just learning. I'd rather the job be done right, and I prefer them to ask me the questions so then they do it the right way. But it's setting them up for success with your protocols. We have a handbook, for example, when employees first come on board with us. So it's all black and white. They know their dress code. They know what to expect. They know when they're getting their breaks. They know what to expect going into the position, and there's no gray area as well. Also doing your check-ins, checking in how they're doing, even if it's pulling them aside in a treatment room, just, oh, how are things? I feel like we haven't had a one-on-one in a while, or going in your schedule and actually blocking time off to have those conversations with everyone. Miskoka Beauty wants to thank everyone for listening to our podcast, and we're offering 15% off your first bottle of Lash and Brow Serum by Muskoka Beauty. Now, if you haven't heard or if you haven't tried or seen before and afters or even seen reviews, you're definitely going to want to head to Miskoka.com and click onto our Lash Serum to actually read some of the reviews, because this product is unbelievable. It will enhance your natural length and your brows as well, making them more full and absolutely gorgeous. So head over to Muskoka.com and type in promo code Beauty Brand Podcast 15. Once again, that's Beauty Brand Podcast 15. Happy shopping and happy lashing. And what are some popular spa services, and how do you determine which ones to offer at your business? This is one of those questions where I feel like it can be so personal. For myself, I am a fully licensed esthetician, but I also am a nail tech and a lash tech as my special offerings, and something I did a lot of and always was interested in taking more courses and learn more about, as well as waxing as well was another thing I did a lot of, was Brazilian waxing. And it was one of those things that I didn't enjoy facials in school. I feel like it was just a module that I kind of was my first module coming into skincare, coming into the aesthetic world, and I really struggled to understand. I also hated biology in high school, so I feel like that was kind of one of those things that was like coming right from high school into aesthetic school. It was a lot of biology right off the bat. But now that I'm getting into learning more about skincare, we've had some medical estheticians, some nurses at our location that are working with us, and a lot of the girls are intrigued by skincare. Also, social media, I feel like, is blowing up with skincare and just learning. I feel like since the pandemic, I'm not sure if everyone else feels that way, but since the pandemic, I feel like it's the minimal look, less makeup, the better. People are caring more about their skin, the whole mask me situation. And people are educating themselves. So clients have been great with coming in with questions, wanting a skin consultation, wanting to learn more about what they can do at home. Also, Botox and filler has been super popular. People are really wanting to do the preventative actions now. So it benefits them later on in life with having that Botox done to help with fine lines and wrinkles before they do become a problem. But I find it's really one of those things what your staff are really interested in, what you're interested as a business owner, and also what's profitable. For us, it was something I didn't really take into consideration until we had staff. And I was like, okay, what is really making us some money? Where is the margin at? Because for me, passion is everything in the industry. And I always have had a passion for nails and lashes. And then I was intrigued when we started doing a lot of hiring. People were saying that skincare was their passion. So then our business kind of just started fluctuating more into skincare, and then having our medical staff there as well. It just gravitated that way organically, and it's done great things for our business. We're bringing in a lot of new machines as well, educating our clients. It's more of that medi spa feel. Something else that I found that was really interested in trying to automate things. So spray tan, we actually purchased a Mystic spray tan booth last July, and it has changed our business for the better. It's a walk-in service, as well as you can book an appointment online. We have monthly memberships as well. And it's something that our receptionist actually can do. So she loves it because she can get tips from running the machine. It's kind of like her little baby in a way, where she can go, she's in charge of that room. She's in charge of cashing clients in and out of that. She's in charge of educating clients on the spray tan. And it's been great. So if clients are between services or someone's coming in to ask questions, she can help them any way she can with that spray tan machine. And just a little shout out to Uvalux, who we deal with the Mystic spray tan. They have been an amazing company to work with. Super diligent communication, sales, all of that. So if you ever have questions about bringing in a automatic spray tan booth like a Mystic Tan or Versatan, definitely someone you want to reach out to in Canada. And if you have any questions about different services or ways that we kind of migrated our business to be what it is today, and also the income, I feel like since COVID, trying to figure out, because we were so limited on doing services in Canada here, we weren't allowed to do face services for a really long time. And I just think this was our time to shine, to start actually getting clients in for their facials, educating clients. Even when it came to lashless and brow laminations with our Muskoka beauty products, it was just something that organically people were wanting, I think, after the pandemic as well. Our next question is, how do you market a new spa and attract customers? This is something that's so important. When starting a business, you really need to make sure that you might think everyone knows about you, but they really don't. You want to be in front of everyone as much as possible. Like I was saying, your small business centers, your community centers, anywhere where you know that there's that community base behind you, you want to be there. Whether it's if you want to be on a community, on a board, or anything like that. I feel like that's super important. You're networking. It's really hard to also make time for it when you are starting a business. But I find anything when it comes to someone comes to you wanting a gift card or a fundraiser, or they're doing a buck and doe or stag and doe or something like that, I always said yes and donated something. Whether it was a gift card, a basket of product that we were selling, anything like that that could get my name and my business out there. What we do a lot of now is actually our Mystic spray tan booths. It's amazing because people will try it once and then they're hooked. It also doesn't cost us a ton of money up front, where people might just try it once, and then it's a great asset to have them as like a membership client or someone who would be telling a friend about it as well. And it's a very visual service where people are going to see the difference and see their natural glow with that spray tan. But it's so tricky when starting a business because you're running off your feet. You're like, oh, I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. But then you're like, oh no, I need to also do marketing. We have done some publicity things when it comes to like in our newspaper, the radio, things like that as well. We sponsored actually our baseball team, one of the local baseball teams here that I played on, which was great because twice a week, they're talking on the radio about the scores and they're mentioning the team names on the radio. So we were sponsoring, supporting our local women's softball team, as well as being on the radio and doing that advertising. So there's lots of different creative ways you can get out there in the community, supporting a charity golf tournament. Even I know some of our local grocery stores do like your logo, your business name on some of the shopping bags. The list goes on. You just want to put yourself out there, as well as social media. I feel like sometimes it can get overflooded, but doing collab posts, doing collab giveaways, doing a social night, getting people together, doing like a girls' night out, doing bring a friend, a referral program. We had loyalty program once we were getting out of COVID to get people to come more frequently. Also, just with like the pandemic and finances, I found it was something that also helped us to get more people in and spending more money within the spa. Also, just making it easy, making sure your online booking system is easy and flawless for clients. And also purchasing gift cards online and in person has really been beneficial for us ever since we got the online our online gift cards available on our Squarespace website. So the list goes on. There's so many different ways. I'd also be really interested to hear some of the things that you do to help market your business as well. Our next question is, what are some important legal considerations for opening a spa business, and such as permits and licensing? This is a great question. Just really make sure you're honest with your insurance company whenever there's changes or people you're bringing on board. Make sure you're updating those. When you have contract workers, make sure you've got them signing a contract, as well as they have their own insurance as well. Also, if they're bringing in machines, things like that, it might be important to have that conversation if something were to ever happen at your location with their machine. And also just being honest with how much inventory. Really take the time in knowing how much inventory you have on hand and your investments, your assets within that building, making sure you have liability with that. If you have staff that are going to be mobile, making sure that they have insurance with that as well. We have our insurances inside the building as well as outside of the building in case someone ever slipped or fell. It's really making sure that you're going with the correct insurance company that's going to be able to cover you when it comes to anything within liabilities. Also with permits and licensing, like I mentioned earlier about making sure your signs have permits, making sure you're just dotting your I's and crossing your T's, because it's a lot easier to do it the correct way, the first way, than going back and figuring that out later. For those who have been listening, you know I'm a massive fan of Squarespace, and I don't really know what I would do without them. With both our brick and mortar store as well as our e-commerce, I can do everything in one place. Whether it's e-commerce, I can do inventory, email campaigns, appointments, and so much more. Now, Beauty Behind the Brand has partnered up with Squarespace to offer you 10% off your first subscription. All you need is promo code PARTNER10. Oh, another point I would also add to the legal considerations is when you're bringing in product into your boutique or you're actually using product on a client, really make sure you've done your due diligence to make sure that that product is safe, it's licensed properly, that it is a legit company. I feel like there's a lot of companies out there right now that are throwing things on Amazon or throwing things online that are actually not done right through the government that you might be in, or you're licensing through your state. So just making sure you're doing all those things correctly as well. How do you stay up to date with the latest trends and developments in the spa industry? Well, this is why I love the spa industry, because it's always changing. There's new trends. There's always something new and exciting going on. We have a pretty young clientele, as well as our staff are all pretty young in the sense of like that young energy, younger aged, and we're always excited to try new things. They're also on social media, so seeing things that they want to try when they come in. I love getting that excited text that, oh, can I try this, or can I sample this on one of the girls? I saw this on Instagram. Can we look into what we could do to bring this into the spa? I always feel like it's such a team building opportunity to brainstorm when we have our staff meetings, asking everyone what their thoughts are about this, any new services or any new add-ons that they would consider. I feel like it's a really easy way to develop trends within your spa as well. So everyone's on board, everyone's within the same kind of niche and where it's going. It is one of the most exciting things I love about our job is it's kind of repetitive, but it's not at the same time. So you know what you're getting into every day when you're going to work because it's written down in your schedule. But at the same time, you don't know what nail art you're going to be doing. You don't know what kind of style of lashes you're going to be doing, what kind of skin consultation will be coming in. So it's the same but different every day. And that's why I love these trends. You might even see a lot of the trends coming back as well, since the industry and styles, and it's kind of like fashion, right? Once you do it once, it'll circle all the way back again. So yeah, just staying true to kind of what your vibe is. For us, we're very much natural when it comes to even my makeup style for bridal. It's very natural. We want people to still look like themselves afterwards, as well as even our facials and nails and lashes. We try to keep ourselves that kind of more natural luxury brand. And we try to keep that transparent to the trends that we're also bringing into our location as well. So if you're more of like bright colors when you come into your atmosphere, you're more about the bright, long, artistic nails, your colored lashes, the ultra volume lashes, like maybe that will be your vibe. So kind of figuring out what trends you want to actually bring into your location too, I think is so important. Our next question is, what advice would you give to someone who is thinking about opening a spa business? Well, I'm going to think back to when I started my spa, and what kind of advice I could give myself is don't be scared. I feel like that's easier said than done, but I just remember I would worry myself sick. Literally, I just remember my anxiety being so bad. I just remember, I was 20 when I opened my spa, turning 21 that next month, and telling me that I was opening my own business at the age of 20 was a little overwhelming, to say the least. But I just remember all the sleepless nights, all the things I would stress and worry about, and then it all ended up being okay at the end of the day. So it's one of those things that I think when opening a business or starting something new, try to change that nervousness into excitement, because I feel like that's one of the things we as humans get mixed up, kind of that fight or flight mentality and that feeling in our gut. But stay true to your gut. If you have a feeling that something's not right, or you're getting like a weird feeling about somebody that you're hiring or a client, I've also had to actually fire clients that didn't respect myself or some of my other staff members, or there was an issue that cancellations, people didn't show up. That's another thing that I feel like is a huge struggle within this industry, as well as no shows and people not paying deposits and all the things, because I always say to people, you always want to get paid when you go to work, so why shouldn't we? And after I explain that to people, it's definitely something that I find they actually understand afterwards. So I would just say, stay true to yourself, make sure that you try to turn that nervousness into excitement, and also just have fun. Like, try to be different, try to just not look at what everyone else is doing. The world is a very busy, loud place, and try to be that escape from reality for people. Try to think of what you would want as somewhere to come in. I also try to do some like market research, going into different spas and salons, and just how you feel in that atmosphere. Some of the pros and cons you might like and you might not like. We're very much a day spa, but we do have the medi side, but we don't listen to spa music. We listen to like soft acoustic pop or things like that. So it's really who you are. And I feel like as a brand and as a business owner, those are two very much the same thing. Your business becomes who you are, and you become the business in a way. It's your lifeline, really. It becomes your child, and you just want to keep it alive. You want to keep it thriving. You want to keep it growing. But I wouldn't change it for the world. I always get so excited when people tell me that they're opening a business. I've even had it where staff have opened a business who work for me, and it's just the excitement. I feel like it's something that I've done, and I don't regret it for a minute. So our last question is, what are some future trends that you see in the spa industry, and how do you plan to adapt to them? That's a good question, because I feel like it's hard to tell the future trends, because I wish I knew, because I would help set them. But definitely within the nail world, we're still seeing a lot of that chrome powder. Facials, we're bringing in our oxygen facial. Anything like chemical peels are massive right now as well. Hydrodermabrasion, hydrofacials, really, anything for that glowy, hydrated look. Also tinted moisturizers, we sell a ton of them at the spa. But our future ones, I'm kind of interested to see what this fall brings for trends. I mean, it's usually pretty traditional with like those fall colors, as well as facials, that kind of thing. But I'm trying to think what would be some of the new things. Oh, body treatments are really big right now as well, the sculpting. So I don't know. What do you think will be the future of some of these trends that are going to be coming in? I feel like for ourselves, we are seeing brows for sure. laminations are so popular, and that tint, bigger the better for brows still, as well as chrome nails. Like I said, any type of exfoliation, super hydrated skin, that glowy look. And I mean, spray tans, that's always been personally one of my faves, one of my go-tos. But yeah, that kind of bronze goddess look, I feel like will never go out of style. So yeah, I am so happy. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I think these solo episodes have really got you guys to get to know me a little bit more. I had a couple clients who actually listen to this podcast reach out, as well as some of our listeners that I personally don't know, but they do listen, that didn't know a few things about myself from some of our solos. So it's always a great pleasure to be chatting to all of you. If you ever have questions, please send us a message on our Instagram, or you can reach out to us on email. But I hope you're having a great day, and we will chat soon. Thanks, everyone.